Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the yard of streams for another edition of the Smackdown Breakdown. And you can't have the Smackdown Breakdown without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello. How we doing?
It's going, you know?
How are the peeps doing today? It's happy Saturday. Sara, I got some great news. Okay. So I have 3 days off in a row right now.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday?
No, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Oh, cool.
So I have no responsibilities that involve going out and seeing the peeps.
Well, you can't. You're also sick, so.
I'm glad someone has to helicopter over me because, yeah, you're right. I kind of, and I love that. No, hold on. Let me back up here. I don't love that. I love that I can use it as an excuse to just sit down here and relax because we've been busy. All right, you and I, we're cranking out content both here in the yard of streams and at our respective Patriot places.
Did I tell you how many articles that I've written in a year? I did, right?
In a year?
Yeah, so far this year.
Yeah, it was astronomical.
It was like 500 and something.
Yeah,
Insanity.
and like this month, you did like 45 already.
No, I actually have only done 20 something.
Well, last month you did like 45 in like I remember you telling me in like a 2 week or 3 weeks.
Last month I did 92.
That's just.
I did 92. Yeah.
You keep cranking it out. That's what we do here. We just fucking a little crank out.
Oh no, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
Oh. Ugh. Who am I? I have a back.
Oh,
I am.
There you go, Rocky.
Rodriguez.
There you go, Rocky.
Yep, that's
sexy
me.
back dimple.
That is me. Anyway, but yeah.
Anyway, Raquel Rodriguez, we did not see last night because she's on Raw. We watched SmackDown last night. And I'm not going to lie, Sara. I put this as, I would say, a top 5 show of the year.
I'm not good at saying that kind of stuff because I don't even remember like 5 shows to be able to say that.
Like memorable. When I say like memorable shows, this one was that through and through.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was pretty solid. Yeah.
Just a lot. What I liked about it was it did the story. It's answering questions for the fans, and it's not just leaving them in limbo, which is my biggest complaint.
Yeah, and you could tell there was a lot of that because there wasn't many matches.
No.
So, that'll tell you how much they like working on story development and whatnot, you know?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you want to just kick things off?
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Before anything got started, we got told that Kevin Owens was going to be filling in on commentary for Corey Graves because he and Carmella just welcomed their baby boy Dimitri on Wednesday. So we were getting Kevin Owens, which I felt like I was like, all right, that's fine. Like I just thought it was kind of random, but I'm not mad about it. You know.
Quick sidebar, just because it's on the topic of it. Do you wish more wrestlers did commentary on a special guest basis like this or similar to this?
Yeah. Yes. And I think that because it's entertaining, you know, like now that they're especially on SmackDown because they're back to a 3-team for commentary. I feel like that is better because I think it's when it's 2, it might be a little bit distracting to have like a wrestler because like obviously they're not a professional. So they're not going to stick to the topic and like give you insightful information. But I feel like, you know, Kevin Owens was so funny. And then even if you had like a heel on, they're funny too, even if they're not trying to be. So I feel like it would be kind of fun to do that more often.
it would highlight the wrestler's character too and develop
Mhm.
it where you see who they, like, are, not just as the wrestler, but, like, their whole gimmick and whatnot, and it makes it more entertaining for the fans at home too, I agree.
Yeah.
And when you see KO on the screen, I mean, I get so happy inside. It's my guy. I love how he came up with the tie
Yeah.
and the
I
shirt,
know,
and he's like,
just
"I love how Nick Aldis just let me borrow this for me. Let me borrow this for him. Thank you."
yeah. So he comes out, says he's going to be on commentary throughout the night, and I think that he was great throughout the night, but my favorite part, of course, was when it was Grayson Waller versus LA Knight, and I had to write down his quotes that were the best to me.
Alright, yeah, let's hear it.
So the first one was when he said, "Don't look at me, Grayson Waller," and then Cole is like, "I don't think he's looking at anyone," and then he's like, his eyes are a little glazed over, and then LA Knight comes over and starts bashing his head into the commentary desk, and Kevin's like, "Yeah, yes, yes, yes." And Cole is like, "It's actually yeah," and he's like, "I'm putting my own spin on it," and then he hits him again. It's like affirmative, and you're like, "Yes, okay." And then Waller's like, "Say something now," and he's like, "You have a lot of sparkles on your gear. That is too many sparkles. Too many sparkles, Grayson Waller. Enough sparkles. Get out of here with the sparkles." And I'm like, "Calm down." But yeah,
The best!
it's just like it's
He's
so
so
stupid, but
good.
it's so good. So I enjoyed it, like I think it added a funny element to a not funny match, I guess, because obviously LA Knight versus Grayson Waller wasn't meant to be like funny, but
No, yeah.
yeah, Kevin did a great job.
You need a guy like that and more. I don't know. I fucking love Kevin Owens on commentary because of the just outlandish comments he makes.
He's
It's
just
oh,
so natural, like at speaking, and just naturally funny, I think. And it's not even like he's trying to be funny. You know what I mean? Because
no,
it's like he doesn't really set things up so that you think, oh, okay, he's setting up a joke. No, he's just talking and it just happens to be hilarious. So I enjoyed that very much. And I would love to hear him on commentary more because I actually think I enjoyed listening to him a lot more than I enjoy listening to Corey Graves because I don't particularly love Graves on commentary. I don't think he's bad, but you know,
not your cup of tea.
yeah, Kevin is just funnier. I enjoyed it
Oh, I
a
mean,
lot
yeah.
more.
That don't You don't have to ask me twice who I prefer.
Yeah. Um, then we get the LWO. They come out.
This felt like a Spanish soap opera.
Yeah.
Mi amor.
So so they had a family meeting in the ring to talk about Ray losing the United States Championship to Logan Paul at Crown Jewel. And Ray just expresses his anger basically because Logan stole the title away from him. And he believes that had it not been for the brass knuckles, that he would still be champion and Logan would have lost. And then everybody's sitting there because the elephant in the room is how the brass knuckles were able to be accessed by Logan still, despite being chased away, apparently, by Santos Escobar. So Carlito comes out and he ain't having none of Santos's BS. He's like, brother, no, we're not doing this. So he's just like trying to bait Ray into being like, hey, let's talk about this. You don't want to talk about this? Okay, I'm gonna talk about it. And I was like, yes, King. King, do it. So he comes out and he says, Ray, you're blaming the wrong guy. You're sitting here, you're talking about how mad you are at Logan Paul. You need to be looking over at your boy Santos Escobar because if it weren't for him leaving those brass knuckles on the apron, then none of this would have happened. And then Santos just acts like he just said a yo mama joke or something to him. You know what I mean? Like the way that he got so pissed, you would think that he
In
like
his
personally
face.
insulted his mother or something because he was just like, get away. And then you hear him say like, this is my family, not yours. I'm like, what are we doing? What is
Yeah,
happening?
it's really weird with the whole family element that they're doing because
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like they're no, not even doesn't seem they're not being highlighted on television as a family. They're being
and
highlighted as a group.
well,
There's a big difference.
and the thing is you're saying it to another, like you're saying that to Carlito, who's Puerto Rican, who could have been one of the founding
Who
members
is
of the LWO. I'm sorry, he's not Puerto Rican, is he? Is
That's
he? He is. Okay. But like why are you yelling that? Aren't the LWO supposed to be like a group of Latinos, hence the name? So I just
like
thought that was kind
taking
of
over the
funny.
world. Yeah.
So um that was okay. It felt like it was the beginning of Santos turning on Ray, but we haven't gotten there yet. Carlito was coming out early also because he
Well,
was
hold on.
set to
I want to say something about the Ray turn when, or have you got to that?
well, we haven't gotten there yet. That happens after the match.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Same thing.
This
My
is why
bad.
you gotta listen to my plan.
I'm
Okay.
trying to listen to it, but my mind is
Okay.
jumping ahead with thoughts and
Okay. So
feelings.
anyway, so Carlito came out because he was going to be facing off with Bobby Lashley anyway, and it ends in chaos, as the banner says. And I mean, it was a fine match, obviously. Lashley. Oh wait, well before this, Santos gets pissed off and yeah, and he walks off. Ray and Zelina chase after him. I forgot that part. Bobby, of course, comes out with the Suit Profits, but Carlito is flanked by Cruz and Joaquin, so he is not alone. It was a fine match. Obviously, the Suit Profits and LWO guys, they go after each other. Montez and Angelo take out Cruz and Joaquin, which Bobby is then able to take advantage of and get the win over Carlito. The Suit Profits then go after Carlito, which prompts Santos to come back, but then he just watches as they beat up his not family member Carlito. Um, so that wasn't cool. Then we see Ray come out.
That wasn't cool.
That wasn't cool. I spit in the face of people who don't
People
want
don't
to be
want to be
cool.
cool.
So Santos is just standing there like a weird peeping Tom or something. I don't know. And Ray comes out with a chair very slowly. Might I add? I was like, he kind of was like running like in slow motion, it felt like, and then he like got in the ring really
Giddy up.
slow. And I was like, what are you trying to do, Ray? Like, you're not gonna do anything if you're jogging in place. Like that's what it looked like. But the two prophets then like run away, they scatter, and Santos just tries to talk to him and be like, I love you so much. Like, you were my hero. Like, blah, blah, blah. And Ray is just like, I'm not having it. Like, we are all a family, and that includes Carlito. And eventually Ray ends up pushing Santos away because he will not stop confessing his love for him. And then he tries to talk to Ray again, which prompts Ray to slap this man. And Santos was embarrassed, obviously. His ego was shattered. So as he's like kind of on the ring apron, Ray tries to go and apologize to him, which then leads to Santos throwing him into the steel steps and then like drop kicking it at the same time and then trying to like apologize or saying like, you made me do this. So I was originally taking a victory lap because I've been saying this for months that we needed Santos to turn on Ray. However, I mean, that is how it was received, I would say, by the audience because they started to boo him and whatever. But it does kind of make you feel like it wasn't a full blown heel turn. It was kind of like he's in the gray, I would say, because he didn't do like enough for you to hate him. And in some cases, there are people who are online. There are people online who feel like, well, Ray had it coming. Like he slapped him. You really think that he wasn't going to like respond to being slapped? And like that's embarrassing and whatever. So I'm saying that there are people who don't feel it was a full heel turn. So I'm curious what you think about that.
I think it was a full heel turn, and it wasn't done well. It was,
Okay, so I think maybe that's why people are having that reaction where they feel
yeah,
like it wasn't a full-blown heel turn because it didn't feel
not at all.
bad, like nasty enough, evil enough for people to
No.
like jump on hating him. And that's why I think there's people that are kind of like, I don't know, did he turn on him? Did he
Why
not
did
turn on him?
Ray look strong? Why did Ray get in slapped? Like, I
Yeah,
liked everything about it except for the fact that Ray got offense in.
yeah,
I mean, if anyone knows heel turns, it's friggin' Rey Mysterio. The man's been through a ton of them. Where you have a guy like Santos Escobar that you're trying to make a mainstay and, at this point, one of your top heels on the brand, you gotta go all in with this. Bury Rey Mysterio. I mean, KO on commentary said that he wouldn't even have turned on Ray. So
Yeah.
by doing it already, it doesn't have to be brutal. Like, you don't have to go chair shot after chair shot, but
Right.
like maybe you hit your finishing move. You know, you have that steel step spot right there, and you do that still. But
Mhm.
don't let him get any offense in, because now you raise these bullshit questions really
Yeah.
about if he is really in it or if he's just playing, you know, like overreacted or whatnot. But it's the obsession, and that's what to me is the trigger that this is the full heel turn, and that Carlito came into the group, he overstepped, and then he took his family away
Well,
from him.
yeah, Santos feels he overstepped, right?
That's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Santos feels Carlito did, yeah.
Yeah.
And that already is enough for a heel turn.
Yeah.
Obsession makes people do crazy things. You have them do that, you know, I loved you, you're my hero, all that. Boom, perfect, check. You have the stair spot, and then, you know, another offense, whatever, that blind side, check. That's it. You don't have Ray get offense in, because now it's like, all right, well, why the hell is Rey Mysterio looking strong on a heel turn at this point in Santos' career?
Well, and that's why I kind of question, like, maybe the segment didn't go to plan. Like, maybe Ray wasn't supposed to do all of that, or if he was supposed to do all that, it seems like maybe they're a little bit hesitant to have Santos go full-blown heel, because there was no reason for him to like take Ray down, and that seemed like okay, and then he kind of apologized, and then Ray to slap him again, which led to more like it just felt like it was too much to try and really like
We took the
ham
US title.
yeah, it just felt, I don't know, it didn't
That's
hit the way I think that they were hoping it would, but
I could
um
see I could I have a lot of thoughts. Zelina Vega coming out and doing her whole little plea to stop, and what are you doing and
and she
whatnot.
was like crying
That's a
too.
nominee worthy, award
Yeah.
winning, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is another check mark to make it a full unreal heel turn.
Yeah.
But it just didn't seem like that. And you already have the story built in that he took his US title and he should have had that moment and all that. Like, perfect, boom, that's it. Don't
I
overthink it.
I would have loved it more if Santos owned it that he left the brass knuckles there. Like, I want to see him say that that was intentional. That
I
is
didn't
the
think that.
an easy way to get people to hate you, because if you act like it was an accident or oh no, I didn't have bad intentions, like people aren't going to hate you.
This
They're
nigga
gonna, it's
George.
like, just say that you purposely did it because he took the title from you, and then he's like, like prioritizing Carlito, whatever they're gonna say. Like, just own the fact that you did that. That will get people to hate you, because anybody going against Rey Mysterio is gonna be hated, basically.
So yep. That's
But at this point, people don't care enough about what happened to really hate Santos. So they have to fix that next week. That's for sure.
yes. Yes indeed.
Okay, moving on to another group. We have Bailey. She comes out to the ring and she wants some answers from Damage Control because of everything that went down at Crown Jewel, including Kairi Sane returning, which, hello, she is a queen. I am so excited.
She's awesome.
So
I love her.
So Bailey just comes out and she talks about how the original plan that she had with damage control since its inception, most of it has come true. They've been tag team champs. Io won Money in the Bank, and then she became women's champion. She said it's Io's era, and it's all because of her plan, but she doesn't understand what happened at Crown Jewel. Like, why did Kairi Sane come back? Why did she get involved in the match? And so she wants an explanation straight from Io. And that's when Io, Kairi, and Dakota all come out, which is not something that Bailey was too thrilled about, because she is like, why is Kairi here? What are we doing? What are we doing? And that's when she shows the video of the last time that Kairi and Bailey interacted, when Bailey just slaughtered her on live television. So
Loki's shocked they showed the video.
me too. And that's the thing. I love this. I think that's something that we've talked about with Triple H, and I think that people aren't really talking about it enough. He doesn't ignore these things that have happened in the past. Like, if anything, he knows that the internet is going to find it. So you might as well utilize it and involve it in the story rather than pretending it never happened.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that they did that. And I don't know if you saw the callback too of Bailey wearing the red pants. She was wearing red pants that night that she beat up Kyrie too in the clip.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's next level out of you.
Yeah, so I liked that. I'm glad that we're doing that because, you know, they very easily could have pretended like Kyrie's never been in WWE before or something, you know.
Oh,
So she shows that video package, and then Io goes on and talks about how she also had a plan at Crown Jewel, which again kind of calls into question her trust level with Bailey, which I don't blame her. She says that she intentionally had Kyrie come and wanted her to help her at Crown Jewel. Dakota then gets involved as well, and she's trying to convince Bailey, like, hey, no, like, your plan is working and we're actually a much stronger group now, and Io retained. That's what you wanted. So we're even better than what you were hoping for. So Kyrie then says that she forgives Bailey and then she wants a hug. And I love that Bailey's like,
I don't do that. I don't do that. That was so funny. I don't do that anymore.
So
that was a classic line.
They do end up hugging, and but then I'm like, before anything else happens, I'm still questioning. So even at this point, and I understand, like, we see what happens later, but I'm wondering still if this is really going to be a cohesive group. And I kind of feel, based off what we see later, that it's not. But
I'm trying to say something without spoiling anything.
do you want to just wait? We can get back to this if you want.
I have my doubts. Okay. I'll leave it at that. I have my doubts.
So do I. So we'll come back to that when we talk about the main event. So as this little happy little groupie lovey fest is happening, I don't know what you want to call it, Bianca comes out and she sets up the main event basically. So she says that, you know, it's great that maybe, you know, that Bailey forgives them, or Kyrie forgives Bailey, but she doesn't forgive Damage Control for what they've done to her, especially with what they did at Crown Jewel, because they cost her the title against Io. She says that she has others that feel that way too, and she brings out Charlotte, and then she also brings out Asuka. And the thing that I loved about this with Asuka is she addresses Kyrie and Io in Japanese. But did you see their reaction to what Asuka said? Did you see that?
They smiled, didn't they?
Kyrie did. She was like laughing, kind of. Io was like straight professional, like didn't react at all, just being like, oh, you know. But to me, I'm like, I need someone to translate what she said, because I'm like, I wonder if she said, like, hinted at what was going to happen in the main event, and that was kind of why Kyrie laughed, or if it was just Kyrie being like, oh, haha, it's Asuka. Like, I don't know, but it just seemed kind of funny that
that would be next level.
I would love that.
That would be next level.
Because it goes over all of our heads, you know?
Oh, I think this was going like, oh, and I'm going to fight you and I'm going to take you down like you took me down for my title, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's what they said. And just
it might have been. I don't know. So that ends up setting up the main event being 3-on-3, which is pretty cool, I would say. I felt like that was a pretty cool main event for SmackDown, because
Kyrie saying main event to SmackDown, first show back.
I know. And especially because it's been for so much, you know, on SmackDown, it's been something to do with the bloodline. So I thought that was cool that it was like, no, it's going to be an all women main event, you know? Yeah, that was pretty cool.
No, it's awesome.
Then we move on to, I would say, arguably the best match of the night, and that was Dragon Lee versus Cedric Alexander. And there's just something about Dragon Lee that appeals to me. I don't know what it is, but I feel like he's probably attractive under that mask, you know. But anyway,
hairy though.
He's not. They don't all have to be hairy.
All right, I'm just saying.
John Cena's not hairy. Finn Balor's not hairy. Come on now.
Yeah, just John Cena.
So
smooth.
Based off of this match and the one that they had, I don't know, last week or the week before, people are calling for a best of 3 or a best of 5 between these two, because that's how good these two are. That's just, I agree. And as the banner says, and I've been saying it, anytime that anyone wants to ask, like, what do you think is a championship that WWE should bring back or whatever, I always say cruiserweight, because this is exactly why I feel like they need to have a better cruiserweight division than when they brought it back with 205 Live. I think that part of me feels like it flopped because it was a Vince thing, and Vince doesn't like the small guys. But there's a reason why people love to watch them, because they're so different, and it's like we don't get to see it a lot because they don't employ a ton of these smaller guys. But this was phenomenal and probably the best match of the night, as I said, and it's because they're both so good.
This is why the Cruiserweight Classic was a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
the way they do it to bring it back is steer into the skid with this new style, indie style, whatever you want to call it, and you just have it be WWE's version of the X Division, where you have these athletic, smaller guys do crazy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because crazy stuff it comes after incredible build up and feuds and whatnot. I mean, this is why I really implore people to watch other stuff or be familiar with other stuff at least, because I see a lot of clips from Lucha Underground and those other Impact, and some of the moves those guys are doing are so good. Like, perfect example is Speedball Mike Bailey. He's absolutely incredible. Like, that'd be a perfect cruiserweight for this division, that he could hang with those two guys.
I
And
just
it's
saw clips of Dragon Lee versus Osprey from like 4 years ago.
oh,
That was crazy.
that'd be a banger match.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
and that's how you build up that type of cruiserweight wrestling again, is by
Mm-hmm.
just giving them this one match. See how the fans want a best of five. All right, well, you have
Do it.
Adam Pearce make it official, or no, SmackDown. So Nick Aldis makes it official,
Mm-hmm.
and you do something that of a championship series or whatnot, and then see what it comes of it. I'm a big fan of it. I like your idea.
And I'm glad that I mean, there's multiple reasons why I'm glad, but I'm glad that Triple H is in charge for situations like this, because Dragon Lee was killing it in NXT, and then they kind of tease him coming up to the main roster, but now we know it's for sure. Like, he's actually a part of the SmackDown roster. And basically, he's been on like every week since that happened. So I'm glad, because it's like, yeah, I want to see this dude on TV every week. I don't care if it's not the main event or like this really deep storyline yet. I don't care. He's so like, you can't not watch when he's on TV. So I enjoy it, and I would like to see more of this happen, because Cedric Alexander also deserves to be on TV more, because I think people are looking over him a bit when it comes to this, because obviously Dragon Lee is Dragon Lee, and he established himself before he went to NXT, so people are much more familiar with him. But Cedric kills it too, and this guy had been sitting in the back for so long, and it's like he's out there putting on banger after banger after banger with Dragon Lee, who might be one of the best, high flyers, luchadors in the company, and Cedric's hanging with him. So I'm glad that he's been on TV recently, and that we're still getting like him versus Dragon Lee, because if this were Vince, this would not be happening at all.
Cruiserweight division could be great.
Yep.
Would be great. Not could, it would be great.
Mm-hmm.
And David turning heel, Lee versus Alexander was a banger. AEW failing to sign Lee was a mistake.
Yeah.
I would say
A happy
uh,
mistake.
a happy mistake, because if he was in
Yeah.
AEW right now, he would not be utilized to his full potential. He'd be on Rampage in those opening matches with the other luchadors, which,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, that's great, and it does a job,
It's not highlighting him though the way he
but it's
deserves.
not highlighting him to his full potential.
I would
And
like to see them really push him hard. Like, it seemed like for a while they were the whole Sin Cara thing. They almost were trying to have him be not necessarily the second coming of Rey Mysterio, but almost be like the next guy after Rey Mysterio. And obviously that didn't work, mostly because they got rid of original Sin Cara and then had to use faux Cara. But I feel like Dragon Lee could be that guy. And
I can see it.
and I feel like they should try and go with that. Because we know that Ray is getting towards the end. He's talked about it multiple times. So if you want to continue that, then push Dragon Lee to be that guy because he can.
He can do it.
Yeah, he can do it, and I want to see it because like he's so good. I want to like watch the match again. You know, like that's how good it was. Then we move on to our guy, Mr. L.A. Knight.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whose game is it? It's LA Knight's game.
So he comes out in his yellow shirt and his new trunks, which shout out because I saw the guy who made them on Twitter. Phenomenal job. I loved them. I thought it was very different for LA Knight, so I thought that was cool. But he immediately wants to address what happened to Crown Jewel because, as we all know, he's not Crown title boss is Roman. That was interesting, among other things, which we will discuss. Is that kind of it ended up being in character, but it felt kind of uncharacteristic for LA Knight when he said he felt like he let people down, like he let the fans down by not coming out champion. I loved that he paused because the crowd started chanting like, no, you didn't, like you didn't let him down. And it just felt like another one of those moments that we've talked about where you can kind of tell that he's soaking it in, you know, like I feel like it's still surreal to him. And it is for me too. Like I'm not even claiming to have been like this long time Eli Drake fan or anything, but because I wasn't like
no,
you
neither was I.
But it is really cool to still see just like the reaction that he gets, like the fact, you know, I said about the entire side of the arena in Saudi had the signs, like that's all you could see. You couldn't see fans, you just saw their hands holding the signs.
Signs are back.
Everybody screaming, and the fact that they chanted no you didn't, like I don't know if I've ever heard that chant before. And
yeah, I don't think I have.
And the crowd says a lot of crazy things when they chant. So the fact that I've never heard that, like that is cool. So, you know, like I said, he went into character immediately and it was just like, no, like, I know I didn't let him down, you know. He says that he took Roman within an inch of the title, dropped him on his head with the BFT and had him down for the 1, 2, 3. And he says that he knows that if it weren't for Jimmy, that he would be the champion right now. And that Jimmy deserves a raise. And basically whatever pleasure that he can give him is what he said from Roman. And I was like, LA, stop it.
My loins.
Yeah. Yeah. So then he gets interrupted because we know that he is going to be facing Grayson Waller. So Grayson does come out and he mocks him first for blaming others for losing instead of just admitting that he wasn't good enough. And LA Knight greets him with like, oh look, it's Kangaroo Jackass. And I was like, that
was hilarious.
That was a good one, LA. I'll give you credit for that. Then Waller talks about how he wants to have an impromptu Grayson Waller effect and asks him why he thinks that he is worthy enough to be in the ring with Roman Reigns. And this is when Grayson should not have said anything because he got literally obliterated. He became like well done steak, okay, in front of our eyes. That's what has happened.
He was cooked.
Yeah, he was cooked. He was cooked. So LA says that the Grayson Waller effect sounds like an STD. And he's like, didn't you get dropped by a Saudi movie star at Crown Jewel? He's like, you're out here asking if I belong in the ring with Roman when you have your $5 haircut ready for school pictures, but looking at you makes me feel that you're not allowed within 50 yards of a school, you creep. And I was like, oh my God.
He was fuming at this.
I know.
He's like,
I loved that though, because sometimes when this is happening, or I say not even sometimes, I guess most of the time, when someone is just getting handed their ass to them basically by somebody else, they kind of will just be like, okay, like they don't really react. But this was Grayson acknowledging like, no, he's actually pissing me off, which I thought was good because he could have just stood there and act like it didn't bother him. And it's like, no, you need
that's not a heel way. Yeah.
So then he goes on and says that Waller called him out on the internet, which we saw. This is how this whole thing came about, was Waller was mocking him and saying whatever on X. I'm still going to call it Twitter, even though LA called it X. It's like, no. And then he says you can get the boy out of mom's basement, but you can't get the mom's basement out of the boy. And I was like, oh my God. Okay.
He's going in on him.
I know. And he says that Waller gives him big incel energy, but not to worry, that he will take out all of his frustrations on him tonight. And then he throws him out of the ring before the match. And I was like, holy moly. I understand that LA Knight is not going to be everybody's favorite and he's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But when I see things like that, I just am wondering, like, how do you not enjoy him at all? Like, you're not at all. You know?
Dude, he's so captivating. Like, anytime he talks, you just want to listen to what he says, and 9 out of 10 times you hear him, he puts a smile on your face with whatever he says. Like, he's just roasting him, and you're just laughing your ass off as this is happening. And he just does it to everybody, and then he just snaps right into it, where it's go time, and that's when he throws him out of the ring and all that. Like, it was
and not even just that. Like, if people want to act like he's not a serious character or something, he literally came out and cut a main event style promo on Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, and then it was a different switch immediately when Grayson came out, but it was like combining both, like the entertainment value that he's so natural at, but then also being serious, because he was like, I'm gonna kick your ass, Grayson, you know. So it was like, it wasn't like he was just out there doing like the Rock thing, where it's like the Rock is singing and it's like more supposed to be funny than serious, you know. And that's like, so I don't understand how people can have a complaint about it, but I loved this, and I think it's probably one of my favorite segments that he's done since coming up on SmackDown, I would have to say. And I think part of it is because they've worked so much together while they were in NXT, and I feel like you can tell that they're comfortable with one another.
Called him Law Knight.
Yeah, Law Knight. And then also, wasn't it it was Kevin who said, oh, he's from Los Angeles. I get it. Like LA Knight. I'm like, oh my God. So dumb, but it's like,
but that's why it's the best that's why like KO should do commentary. At least he should do the pre-show. They should bring back pre-show matches for good and have KO do commentary with like some like Kevin Patrick or a guy like that. Byron Saxton. Oh, he would they would be hilarious.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Make it happen.
So then we move on to the actual match, Grayson Waller versus LA Knight. You know, it was a good match. It was a pretty long match too, and you knew that it was going to be good, like I said, because they had, I mean, pretty legendary feuds against each other in NXT. And LA wins with the BFT, and we already talked about how entertaining Kevin was during this match, so that made it definitely a highlight. And yeah, I would like to see this continue, because I think that it would be cool to see this on the main on the main roster. Because again, as I say all the time, people aren't always the most familiar with what goes on in NXT. So I think that they could definitely have that be a reignited feud on SmackDown, and it would still feel fresh to most people. Especially because we don't know when Roman is going to show up again, because Roman, of course, wasn't here this week. He's not advertised for next week, so it appears that he's just going to be gone on vacation again. So LA is going to have to do something in the meantime, and maybe it's looking like maybe it'll be like him and whoever versus Solo and Jimmy, maybe at Survivor Series or something. And that's basically just to hold him over until Roman decides that he wants to work again. I don't know, but I wouldn't be mad about them having him versus Waller for a little bit longer.
No, and you need to have it for a few months.
Yeah, that would
month
be
cool. Or 2. A few months is 2 months, so okay.
Then we got a video package teasing the end of John Cena. So we first got like a little throwback video of his debut, which I was like, my heart. The fact that John Cena was 25 then, and I'm like, oh, if only I could have been 25 back then as well, but I wasn't. So, you know, I was just like 13 or whatever I was at the time, being like, oh my God. Yeah. So they show that, and then they show what happened at Crown Jewel, and just make it seem like, okay, this is the end of John Cena. But I'm still, I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think this is the end of John Cena.
It's just for the time being.
Yeah, I think. And, I'm not mad about it in that way, because we knew that once the strike was over, I mean, he said it, that he had to go back because he had commitments to television programs and movies and whatever. So it's not like, him leaving was abrupt necessarily. We knew it was going to be happening. And then I think it got worse a little because he said he had surgery. So then it's like he can't even come back and do like one more appearance or match or something before going back to work. I mean, we talked about it yesterday when you were saying we get what he was doing, because he came back and he put LA Knight over, and then he obviously did good stuff for Solo as well. But I just would hate for that to be the end, like the final match that John Cena. I feel like Cena has to go out with a win. We can't be sitting here being like, oh, he hasn't won in 2,000 days, and then that's how it ends.
No,
like,
yeah, he's got to come back for one more victory.
Yeah, just one. Even if it's against somebody dumb that no one cares about, like, who cares? Like, as long as then we can just say Cena got his win, or the 17th title win.
Yeah, the 17th title win, that needs to happen. Like, that needs to be his last win in WWE.
I know. That's why I said do it like Trish. Win it and then just like bow out. Which would be kind of cool, because then it would relinquish the championship, and that's kind of cool, because then it's like, okay, how are they going to figure out who should be champion? I don't know. I always find it fun to be able to watch like those matches of like who's going to go for the title, like what they did with the World Heavyweight. I feel like those are so fun because it's not just exhibition matches. They're actually a match with purpose. I feel like that would be kind of cool for them to do with Cena. Problem is, it would have to be the undisputed, right?
Yeah, it would have to.
Yeah, it would have to be the undisputed title. So that's
no, it doesn't have to be.
Did it combine the World Heavyweight title?
They did.
Oh, okay. So I guess it does, then it wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't, but yeah.
Okay. But then we move and we see Kevin Owens get suspended, and that is because he was taking advantage of the telestrator. Is that what it's called? The telestrator, teleprompt, whatever, telestrator. And he was poking fun at A-Town Down Under for when he punched them at the same time, and he kept just going over it and replaying it and highlighting it, and they didn't take too kindly to that. So they came out, and we see Grayson Waller. Theory comes out, joins Waller. Waller pours water over KO, and then they throw the water bottle at Kevin Patrick, which then makes Kevin Owens super pissed, and he said, I'll be right back, boys, I'm about to go get suspended. So he goes and he jumps the two as they are walking back up the ramp, tries to hit a stunner on Austin Theory, but he gets out. Then he hits it on Waller, and that's how, okay, that's fine. But then we hear from Nick Aldis that he will be suspended. But I don't think we said did they say how long he was going to be suspended, or like what the point was? Like, I'm so confused.
I find it so bizarre. I don't know where this came from, because it wasn't said previously that if he hits anyone tonight, he'd be suspended because he's not a wrestler.
Did you see the video of when he was talking to Nick Aldis, like about sitting on commentary?
No.
Okay, so it might have been said in that. I know that he said that he couldn't put his hands on somebody, but I wasn't sure. Like, I didn't watch that video, the full thing.
All right, then
so I'm not sure.
Send it over and I'll watch it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, but still, I'm kind of like, I'm just not. I'm confused about like what all of this is, and like how long is he going to be suspended? And I don't know, why was that a thing? I don't know. Maybe it's explained in the video, and I'm just ignorant to it right now. But hopefully, it's not too long.
No, I think it'll be like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see. And we're moving fast because there wasn't a whole lot of matches to talk about. So we're already at the main event, which was Asuka, Bianca, and Charlotte versus Damage Control, which was Bayley, Io, and Kairi Sane with Dakota ringside. And I would say, yeah, it was a good match. But what is fun about this match is what ends up happening, girl. Okay. So Bianca is in need of a tag. She needs to get out of the ring. Asuka is standing there being like, grab my hand, girl, grab my hand. But right as Bianca is about to slap her hand, Asuka takes it away, and Bianca is in utter shock. And then so is Damage Control. They're kind of looking over, being like, what's going on over here? And then Asuka spits the mist at
Incredible.
Bianca. And then she gets in the ring and tells like Kyrie to come here, and she like hugs her, and she has Io come in, and they're all hugging and jumping around, and then they get Bailey, and now they're all hugging, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
It was such a sweet moment. It was such a
And
sweet moment.
I know, I was so excited because we were just talking about how we would love for it to be Io, Asuka, and Kyrie as a little group. And so now I'm like, okay, I love that it's in Damage Control, even if it's just for the time being. I'm all for it. So Charlotte tries to break up their little happy reunion, but they all end up attacking her. And then Shotzi ends up coming out thinking she can hang. LOL.
Yeah, what the hell was this? All right, like
I'm
why does Shotzi just think like she's the one that's gonna save the day? I mean, I
think
like you, Shotzi, but come on, like
I think they're really trying to get her involved in something on SmackDown, and so that's why they like randomly infused her into like being an ally of Charlotte, which I still think is just super random, and it just feels weird. And they haven't really done enough to make it seem like legit or that Charlotte's even into it. You know what I mean? Like we haven't gotten like the stamp of approval from Charlotte. Like she hasn't really said anything about Shotzi.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's what makes it weird too. But as we were saying earlier, you know, do you think that Damage Control really is a cohesive unit right now, or do you think that this is just the start and it will end up being Asuka, Io, Kyrie versus, you know, Bailey, Dakota, and whoever?
We are now in the chapter of Bailey's journey to being a babyface again.
I am so here for it.
It is teased with the hug. Okay. As we mentioned, nothing in WWE or pro wrestling in general, sports entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
is done by accident. Everything
Mm-hmm.
has a purpose. There's no reason that those 3, 4 end up being 5 with Bailey, women hugging in the ring is just, oh, it's a sweet moment, whatever. No. No,
Yeah.
that there is so much deeper meaning there because you have the video of what Bailey did to Kyrie be played. All right, it's mind games. That's what this
Mm-hmm.
is all about. It's mind games now. And the thing that really solidified it to me was the Smackdown lowdown they call, or the lowdown on
Mm-hmm.
Peacock. There was a clip that was posted on Twitter from it, and the three Asuka, Io, Kyrie, and Dakota are all in the locker room area, whatever, just shooting the shit. And then Bailey comes in and it gets like awkward, like boss coming into the employee lounge or employee
Mm-hmm.
like work. And it just goes weirdly awkward. And then Kathy Kelly comes in and interviews. That kind of stuff is a telltale sign that this is going to be cohesive a little bit, but this is not going to be a long tenured group right now. We're going to see some branching off very soon.
For me, I felt like the indicator was Kyrie forgiving Bailey. Like in that
Right away.
original segment, like right away is when I got like my antennas went up. You know what I mean? Like you already kind of felt like, all right, Kyrie coming back and immediately like joining forces with Io already made you feel like something was going to be happening with Io and Bailey and Damage Control and whatever. But the fact that Bailey puts that clip up and she was brutal to Kyrie in that clip. It wasn't just like, oh, I beat her and like whatever. It was like, no, she was trying to end her. And the fact that then Kyrie's just like, oh, I forgive you. I'm like, girl, no, you don't. You know, and we knew that there had been like subtle hints of Dakota and Io getting some sort of feeling about Bailey because of, you know, Bailey accepting matches on Io's behalf or like setting things up and not clearing it by her, or maybe acting like the women's title is also hers, or even, you know, like even when she was talking about Damage Control, she was saying like, this is Io's era because of me, basically. So it seems like this has been in the works for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think at the end, and like you said on that clip too, it just feels like, yeah, they're setting it up for it to end eventually. But I feel like I can see this being really good. Like, even if we only get this like unified group of Damage Control for a short period of time, or if it's long, I think it's going to be good. And then the eventual breakup and whatever happens, if it's Bailey versus Io or whatever it is, I think that's going to be fire. I'm so excited.
It's all setting up war games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying to you about before we went live, people were saying that they thought maybe Becky would come and join. I'm like, I don't think that makes any sense, but
I'm trying to make it make sense, and it kind of does, but yeah, I'm with you. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, because if anything, right, they got a fourth person last night, and that was Shotzi. So, yeah.
Isn't
So
it
it's
like
not
5-on-5 though?
I know, but I still don't think that they would have. Well, it's because like, the men's war games, it's all guys on Raw. It's not from SmackDown too. So it feels like if they're going to try and be like, no, we're going to have something for SmackDown as well, then they're going to have all women from SmackDown. So it's not like they don't have enough women on SmackDown. They actually have a really packed roster that they don't need to pull from Raw. But I don't know.
I don't know why I don't know why just I thought of Alexa Bliss being in War Games this year.
She's still pregnant.
Exactly. That's why I laughed when I thought of it, because my immediate, I don't know why, just because we haven't seen Alexa Bliss in so long. So like, oh yeah, this would be a great return. Then you realize she's holding a whole ass child.
Yep.
In her tummy. So
yes, she is.
Can't be doing any twisted bliss.
No.
From that match, but yeah, that was SmackDown.
It was. It was SmackDown.
It was a lot more storytelling, a lot more backstage and back and forth type things. Not a lot of matches.
And we're only 2 weeks from Survivor Series, so
that's crazy. That makes me so excited.
Mm-hmm. I know, and then we have to wait until Royal Rumble for another pay-per-view. That's gonna be rough.
2 weeks before we get Pepsi Phil.
I don't know about that.
CM Punk.
I saw someone post a photoshopped image of Roman staring and Punk and Roman staring off at each other, like stare down, and they were like, this would break the internet. I'm like, no one wants to see that though. Like,
I just want to see. Okay, yeah, you go.
The reason why, so would I like to see CM Punk versus Roman Reigns? Maybe, but the thing is Roman is not the same type of wrestler that Punk is. Like, even though Punk is older, he's still like he wrestles like a more of a wrestler than Roman, who just utilizes his size and whatever, But like, the problem that I would have with Punk doing that is it really believable at this point for Punk to come back and not beat Roman Reigns? Like, are we really supposed to believe that the best in the world, the former like longest reigning champion, can't beat Roman Reigns? On top of that then takes so many other guys out of the line to potentially face him. So like that would take LA Knight out of the mix, because why would they continue with that if Punk is around? And then people aren't considering that, but they also aren't considering that Roman is not supposed to be back until Rumble. So if they're not going to have something happen at Survivor Series and then it doesn't happen for 2 more months, like that's a long time to try and fill. Your TV is very loud, by the way.
Which one?
How would I know?
I don't. Oh, it's not that one. Sorry, I have a lot of TVs. Okay,
that's better. But anyway, I think that people are forgetting, like, there are guys who have been there who deserve to get a chance, even if it is just a one match with with Roman or what. Like, it just doesn't, and I don't really know, other than trying to be like, oh, I'm the best in the world. There's not a real reason why Punk would have any sort of like beef with Roman.
No, that's I agree. For sure on that one. I just want to see CM Punk in wrestling again. That's really all it is.
I think the problem is, of course, is just trying to figure out where he fits in. I think that's the thing, and that people aren't thinking about that, because like I know that people don't care. They're just like, okay, if CM Punk is coming back, I want CM Punk back. I don't care if it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. But I think that we're in a different era in wrestling right now where they don't, like I said, they don't have to rely on bringing these guys back to get people to watch, to buy tickets, to go to shows, do whatever. So you need to have these guys, if you're going to have them return, they need to return in a way that makes sense. And just having CM Punk show up, like that's not exciting. Other than like Punk is back, but okay, like, but where does he fit in? Why is he going to do this or why is he going to do that? Like, I don't know. It's David does not want him back.
No, David is not a fan of AB Punk. Apparently,
what is AB Punk? What does that mean?
Antonio Brown. He's the Antonio Brown of wrestling.
Oh, because he's the. Oh, I see. I didn't see that. I didn't read the end of the quote. What does it mean? He says it in there.
The turntables, yeah. Sarah. How the turntables.
I'm with David. I've said that I'm not like 100% against it of him coming back. I'm probably like 90% against it because obviously his problematic behavior is what led to him being released from AEW, and that Tony Khan did not want to do that, especially when they had shows for like 2-3 days in a row in Chicago. Like, I don't think that was the best idea, but he feels like he had to. So if that is something that is still an issue with Punk, then I don't feel like we need that in WWE right now. But
I just want chaos. That's all it is. I just want chaos.
This isn't a video game though. This is real life.
I know.
So that's why I don't want it.
That's why we have our own video game little promotion we can do this from.
Yeah.
So
yep.
On that note, thank you guys for tuning into this edition of the Smackdown Breakdown. We'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind. And in the meantime, go check out all the videos in our archives about our takes on what's going on in the wrestling world. What do we think of last week's Raw and the inevitable War Games match that was announced by Adam Pearce? All of that and more over at Sarah's YouTube channel, which you're watching on now. And if you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? What are you doing?
We're almost at 1,200.
1198. Oh my God, 2 more. How about just 2 people? There's 6 people in the chat. If 2 people get 1 person to subscribe, we have 1,200. Just think of it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And help us get there so we can keep bringing you the best and most nonsensical and most, I would say, honest content and takes of the wrestling world. And then follow us on all social media platforms. Links are in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you could do it. All you got to do is try. We'll see you on Tuesday. Yeah.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday.